I don't know how we know if it's recording or not. That looks like it's recording, doesn't it?
Is this where I go?
Where are we?
Okay.
I like that big man Japan. All sorts of exciting things. I wanted to be able to turn the camera around and show everyone what's going on around us because it's absolutely amazing. But we can't work out the equipment. And we have Kelly Boyle, the artist.
We do. We have
helping
Kelly
us out with her positive energy today.
So if you can hear any kind of noises, it's Kelly drawing.
It's Kelly making noises with her mouth in the background.
And it's very, very fine what you're doing over there, Miss Boyle. It looks very nice.
Yeah, we've been blessed with a beautiful, beautiful space to... We were going to record upstairs and it just didn't feel as warm as in here.
No.
There's a lot of good energy in here, so...
It is. This is very, very good. It's really weird, actually. I'm suddenly getting a deja vu.
Nice.
How weird.
Who are you?
We've never done this before.
No.
I am Lisa Marie Glover. And I am a singer and a songwriter, an artist, if you will.
Yes, and do you sing in a band?
I do sometimes, but predominantly I tend to be on my own.
Okay.
If you see me playing out and about these days, I tend to be on my own with my guitar and my voice.
Okay. Is there any reason for that?
It's so much easier sometimes than dealing with a band. I also do a lot of, I make money going out playing covers as well.
Okay.
So I do that under a different name, the Lone Songstress, playing weddings and that kind of thing. But predominantly what I do is my own music.
Yeah.
Write music, record music, sell it.
And what's the different experience with singing on your own and singing in a band?
It's nice when you have that camaraderie, and I think when you're traveling to gigs with other people, it can take the pressure off sometimes, obviously, because it's not just you on your own. But then often I find it's funny when I'm on my own, I think I'm more open to just talking to people, and I meet more people that way. So it was funny, there is another artist, Sabrina Piggott, and I was speaking to her recently about this, and she was saying about, it's lovely to be playing.
At Boyle Festival?
She did, actually.
I thought it was her. I thought it was her. It just came to me last night in the middle of the night. I was like, was that Sabrina?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, she's great, Sabrina. But we were both agreeing that sometimes it's like you can just feel quite lonely when you're on your own. But I've not been feeling that way, though, recently. I think it's taken a long time. I mean, we were talking about this before. Confidence is always the biggest issue. And I think it's taken a long time for me to feel settled and confident in what I do. But these days I do. So I quite enjoy just going out on my own and seeing sort of what happens with the gig. You never know what to expect. But... yeah, I think the trouble is when you're playing with other people, it can take a lot more energy of just trying to get people together to rehearse, whereas when it's yourself, you're only reliant on yourself, and I can practice whenever I want at home. So
yeah.
It's
in terms of actually projecting the music out of your voice and your guitar. I mean, presumably you spend time at home in your room on your own, creating music when you're alone, and it's taking that experience and putting that on stage. It's quite different to the band experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I mean, one thing I love to do, I've been back on a bit of a writing spree over the last few weeks, and I've got a very simple recording setup that I demo onto. I've just got like a USB mic that I can plug into my laptop, and I use Audacity, and I do a lot of, I like to multi-track and layer up harmonies and vocals and layers of guitar, and I've been really buzzing doing a lot of that recently. Okay. I've got a loop pedal, and I would like to try and start incorporating it into my live set, just so I can build things up a little bit. One thing I do miss is that I love to sing with other singers live, because a lot of my songs when they're recorded do have a lot of vocals on, so it's nice if I can recreate them. So I mean, that's been one thing that's been quite nice about getting in contact with other artists like yourself, and trying to network a little bit more with like-minded people, because I do love that. I love harmonies.
I had this. I sung with a lady called Emily. I sung with her at a party randomly at the end of the night. Someone, the birthday girl was given a guitar, and so we ended up just having a jam on it. And me and Emily started singing, and she'd do harmonies to my music, and then we arranged to meet up a few weeks later to do some singing. And I just remember sitting there thinking, this is exactly why I do music, which is strange because I don't sing with anyone else anymore, and I, it's like a personal journey to find my voice, and it feels like there's more responsibility and more. At times, it does feel like a burden on my back, you know, kind of trying to, in a positive way. And every time I confront my fears, I move past something. Yeah. But then there's a completely different experience creating music with other people.
Yeah.
It's more joyful, I suppose, actually. And it's less kind of sad. It's more uplifting. A lot of the music I write when I'm quite sad. And then when I share it with other people who are singing in it,
it's true. Often the real creative rush does come from the darkness. It was funny because I've got a new album coming out in April, called Old, New and Out of the Blue. And some of it, I've re-recorded some songs I wrote years ago, and it's funny, I often work with, we haven't done so much together recently, but there's a brilliant guitarist and bass player, just a great musician in Leeds called Sam Widdop. My last EP.
Is there a Simon Widdop as well?
There is a Simon Widdop knocking around. I don't know Simon personally, but I noticed him because of Sam.
Yeah, okay.
Sam is a very talented guy. He's a great songwriter in his own right as well. He's a very, very big, gentle giant with a guitar and a big booming voice. And I can't even remember where I was going.
You're talking about your last project, what you just recorded.
Oh yeah, so Sam pretty much, the EP that I did, he did a lot of the instrumentation on it. Sam's one of the few people who I've worked that closely with. We work really well together. I also used to work with a lead singer called Natasha Williams. She's
Natasha.
You know, it all comes out. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, she's in Australia now.
She is, yeah. Well, Tash used to.
Shout out to Tash.
Hello, Tash. I believe she's been doing a lot of artwork over there as well. She's got a website up. I've seen your website, Tash. I've seen your website. Check her out. Right, yes. Well, Tash used to sing with me. We used to do a lot of singing together for a while in a band, and we worked with a double bass player as well. It was called the Glovers.
Okay. Was that with the guy that now runs White's Deli?
No, it was. It's a lad called Pete Scott. He's a double bass player based in Leeds. But yeah, so we've done quite a bit together. Quite a lot of music stuff together. So it's lovely, that kind of the magic that you get from harmonies. And I found, Tash was great to work with. I remember we first got together and we'd only met probably once before, and you never know how it's going to go. And there's always that stress, isn't there, of if it doesn't work out, you don't want to sort of, if it's just not right, it can be hard sometimes to say, oh, it's not right. But we got together and within about 30 seconds,
I had exactly the same experience. Yeah. Going back to you and your interest, and what interests you as a singer-songwriter, where do you get your inspiration at the moment?
As I said, the new album that's coming out, I remember that, I keep losing my thread.
This is the first time we've met, so it's really weird.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I had a little cup of tea and a chat earlier.
I'm sure I spoke to you at Beulah Fest, though, and I'm sure
quite possible.
Did you have a lot of face paint and maybe a flower in you?
No, I didn't. No, I was kind of. I wasn't really around much that day.
Maybe I didn't.
But I've seen some of your music videos, so I know your face.
Yeah, and likewise, Your
album, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so the album, there are some older songs on there that I recorded on an album years ago that I don't sell anymore. It was called Tea in the Sky, but what it was Sam who actually said to me, you've got some really nice songs that you should re-record. So I thought, well, actually, yeah, okay. So the album was recorded in a basement over in Shipley. It was a guy called Matt White who recorded me. And it's just literally me and the guitar singing. We just did a few sessions, and I recorded some new songs, some old ones, and then there's a few random bits in there, like the spider song. The Spider's a Naughty song. So I don't know, it just came to me, it'd be nice to do this collection of songs and just call it Old, New and Out of the Blue, and that's what it is. It's stripped down. But where I'm going with this, we're talking about where a lot of the inspiration for songs comes from. I didn't realise until, well, Jim pointed it out, and Matt has also pointed out that the songs are actually quite dark. You know, the content is often quite dark, really, and I think maybe when I play, it doesn't come across straight away because my stuff doesn't always sound that dark. But when you listen to the lyrical content, there is a song on there on the new album called Pillow, and it's basically about smothering your drunken lover to death with a pillow. Which I believe is Miss Boyle over in the corner. It's one of her favourites.
So where does it come from? Does it come from a kind of a conscious place, or does it just spill out onto the page?
Sometimes it spills out. Not all of my songs are dark. I mean, some of them are more funny. I do like humour. I have quite a lot of songs that are a bit sillier. I like humour in music. Do you write them in a dark place? Are we talking literally dark or internally dark?
Well, I mean, a lot of my songs are pretty dark, and I was writing some words about them today, and I think they have all come from spaces where I felt probably with tears in my eyes and so inspired that the hairs are standing up on the back of my neck. So emotionally charged spaces, and I think that's why they do have that element of darkness to them.
Yeah, there's definitely, and especially more in recent years. I've said it before. I mean, for me, songwriting is often therapeutic. It's therapy. I've used it to express things that have really hurt me in the past or troubled me in some way. I often write. I suppose it could be seen as like with a bit of humour in there as well. I've got quite a dark sense of humour, really dark. But I think that's really my way of kind of dealing with things that scare me.
It's a pretty dark world out there.
Well, it is indeed. I'm probably, I think of myself as I'm quite a sensitive soul, and I think it's, well, we all are as artists. That's what makes us want to create things, I suppose. But yeah, songwriting's definitely an outlet for, I don't know, it's weird, like you're saying about the zone, sometimes you get that emotional, it's like you can almost feel yourself zinging when you suddenly get an idea and you get into the zone and you just can't leave it alone. And then I'm thinking, I'm going to go and make some lunch in a minute. And then all of a sudden it'll be 3:00 and I'm like, I've just been layering up ideas, and then more words come to me. Or often the great songs come late at night, like the early hours of the morning when there's nothing around to distract. Definitely.
And what is that, do you think? What is that speaking to you?
I don't know, but I wonder if it's linked to... Do you ever get it where you wake up in the middle of the night, you need a wee, and you go for a wee, and you get back in bed, and it's maybe 2:30 in the morning, 3:00, and suddenly your head's whirring. And all of the dark kind of anxieties can come to the surface, and the things that maybe worry you. And they wouldn't even bother you in everyday life, but it's that kind of hour where, I don't know, everything's quiet and all of a sudden... I found meditation techniques can help with that kind of thing.
I mean, that to me sounds really healthy. It's like you're actually confronting the darker shadows of yourself and letting it out. And often I get a lot of clarity in the middle of the night.
Yeah, clarity,
stuff that
definitely.
And I think it's quite easy to push emotions away. And in the middle of the night, the stuff that pops up is actually quite relevant and quite deep and quite... personal. I mean,
it's funny. I mean, I'm very sort of more and more in recent times. I've been drawn more into the whole realms of mental health. It's something in the past I've suffered with depressed states of mind. I had some quite crucial things happen to me as a teenager. I lost my dad at quite a young age. Suffered for many years of anxiety, and I've had a fair few people who've been in my life, passed through my life, who've suffered with mental health in one way or another. And it's something that I'm really interested in, state of mind and feeling good. And I hate the idea of people feeling sort of isolated and depressed and being alone. That really bothers me a lot. But I don't know. I think I'm somebody I like to try and face my fears. I don't want to feel like something dark and negative is defeating me, and I want to try and it can be scary sometimes, but I think through songwriting there are subject matters that I feel a lot freer to write about these days that maybe years back I would have found really hard to.
So is there some kind of connection there between you not liking the idea of people feeling alone and anxious? And
that terrifies me, the idea of being completely alone and isolated. It's like I just think it's a horrible thought.
But there's something about you and other. So it's like you feel that in yourself, but it's almost like, do you write... I mean, I might be putting words into your mouth, but do you write in order to help other people to feel less alone with that experience? Is that what's...
I think when I actually write, it's more of a subconscious thing of just... It's something I just have to do. Okay, it's like a driving... And there's been times when I've gone through phases of... I don't know, maybe in the past of desperately wanting to get somewhere doing what I actually want to do. And I think because I got too wrapped up in that in the past, I stopped enjoying it. And then I was trying to balance everything with day jobs and not really sure exactly what it was I was trying to do. And there's been points where I've thought, I've had enough, I'm giving it all up. And I'm never going to give it up because... I don't know, these days I just do it for the love of it, and it's nice when you get a chance to get out and play and people like what I do and they'll buy a CD and so I think no matter what, there's something in me that's just a part of me that has to create, and for me it comes in the form of making music, writing songs. I love writing, I love wordplay, but what I like about songs is the fact that you can just pack it into this nice neat little package and sort of put it over there, do another one. I'm not a writer I can't imagine writing a book. I write a lot of poetry as well. A lot of it's silly and some of it's a bit more serious. But yeah, I think from where it actually comes from, it's hard to describe. It's just something I have to do. And I just find that the more I explore it and the deeper I get into writing, the more you can use it it can be scary writing about something that's maybe, dark or hurt you in a serious way, but the more you kind of do it, it helps you to face your fears. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Am I making sense right now? Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, it helps to give... I find that whenever I do something I'm scared of, then I'm that a little bit more courageous.
Yeah.
I'm that a little bit less afraid after I've done it, because the worst thing didn't happen. And
yes. Yeah.
I'm definitely into that idea of facing fears.
Yeah, like it's fear that stops you doing anything. And I've battled with it constantly over the years. And again, getting back to being a musician on my own, for a very long time, predominantly through the whole time I've been a musician, of going out and performing in front of people, the majority of my experience has been on my own. So, and I think eventually after time, you've done it so much, you get used to it. But then if I've had a break from playing, it's never to be taken for granted. You can lose it again like that. You can just...
Well, the confidence.
Yeah, it's something that definitely has to be, for me at least, really worked on, and you have to build it up and nurture it, and don't take anything for granted. I think the day that you realise, you think to yourself, oh, I'm good enough now, this is it, I've learned everything I need to know. You never learn everything you need to know. I went to a little guitar workshop last week at the Grove in Leeds with a great guy called Jay Owen, and I did a dadgad workshop, and I learned... It was the first time in ages I've had a lesson where I learned that much in one session. I've been playing for a very long time, and it was really beneficial. And I think it's good to throw yourself into new situations, and you can always learn something off somebody else. I think that's really important.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you have fun, Lisa?
Oh,
what's your idea of fun?
I like doing daft things like parachute jumps, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I've not done anything that daft for a while.
So again, that's pretty brave. That's quite like...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into it. I do love outdoor pursuits.
Oh, you actually do them?
Well, I've not done much recently, but I've done a lot of... I've got a lot of scuba diving experience.
Okay.
I like to explore
Extreme.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've not been diving for probably about 4 years now. Actually,
Amazing.
It's been a while. But I've done a few parachute jumps. I tell you what I did last year. I was working for Heart Research UK, which I told you about. I did a mascot race at Wetherby Races. I was basically dressed as a giant heart. And I had to run a mile. We did I don't know if we got the world record, but we did a world record attempt, and it had to be the most mascots in a mile-long race. It was quite a warm day, so I'm basically dressed as a giant heart running around this racetrack. And then we did the actual mascot race, which was just, I think it was about 250 metres, something like that. So I'm always up for doing daft things.
Mm-hmm.
I often say I get easily bored. But if it's generally for fun, just like... I love... I'm quite into running. I really love running. I was meant to do the London Marathon this year and I've had to pull out because of an injury. But I'm going to be doing the 3 Peaks instead. I'm going to do it.
Still pretty hard work.
Yeah. It's... I am running again now. It was just a muscle injury. But I do... It's funny actually because I'm saying about being a solitary musician. If it comes to sports and activities, I'm very solitary in that way because running... something I generally do on my own. I love swimming. I've not done any for a while, but if I go swimming, it's just about being on your own, going up and down the pool. I love cycling as well.
But they're all very much with people. I mean, singing's with people, isn't it? You're performing with people, and you kind of run with people and do things for events and charities, and it sounds very community.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I see myself as being quite a social person, really. Okay. I mean, and this is another thing about music, that one thing that it's brought me what I love about it is that all the friends, I've made so many friends over the years because I gig all over the place. I do often go further afield than Yorkshire to play. And I've got some good friends I've made down in South Wales. I've got friends even in Sweden now. I had a gig in Sweden last year. And everywhere I go, I've got these little pots of people sort of all around the country and occasionally out of the country. So it is very good for that, for sort of connecting with people and like-minded people. And I think the DIY thing is so much... You've got a lot more power these days as an individual artist because of the social media thing.
So you were saying that earlier as well. You get to kind of follow your own flow and meet who's right for you because you're travelling on your own. And...
Definitely. I mean, a lot of people have said in a way it's made it harder to get anywhere in music, but the way I see it is it's opened the world up completely, and I'm somebody who would have been overlooked, I think, really. Well, I mean, maybe not, who knows, but
Well, you don't, I mean, it seemed more about luck than about being seen by the right people, that connection thing. Whereas now it's if you can almost work out the game, can't you, in terms of sort of what people are into and then kind of connect with that. You've just finished an album.
Yes. And
is that being released? Or has it been released?
Yes, it's coming out mid-April. I'm doing an album launch just around the corner at the Hyde Park Book Club.
Okay.
That's on the 15th of April.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then on the 16th, I'm doing a gig over in Bradford at Glyde House, and it's like a second sort of launch date, if you like. I release stuff these days on my own label, Back of a Bongo Records.
Okay.
The name come about because of my bongo van that I used to drive around in everywhere, and it just seemed to make sense at the time to call the label Back of a Bongo because everything pretty much was out the back of the bongo. And what we're going to do, I'm releasing it on my label and also on my friend who recorded it. He runs a label called BDI Records, so we're going to sort of co-release, is that what you call it? Co-release it. Yeah, so it'll be available on CD, available for download. The dream, of course, would be to eventually get something released on, dare I say it, vinyl.